Lewis Hart for The Ring magazine. Delighted to be joined with Joe Gallagher here at the press conference for Natasha Jonas against Lawrence Price. Joe, it's good to see you. How are things? How's everything?
Yeah, all good, mate. I feel quite honoured really to be stood here with a Ring microphone. I think it's the first one I've done for them. So
it will be, and obviously honoured to be in your company, mate. But yeah, obviously a massive fight with Natasha this Friday night. Royal Albert Hall, Lawrence Price. When you just bring all the layers through it, it makes for a really, really special night on Friday night with everyone involved.
Yeah, it does. Obviously, to be at the Royal Albert Hall, it's not a venue that I've been to before for a boxing event or any event. So we went for a walk last night, took a picture of Tasha outside of the building, all lit up, and it looked really good. Yeah, like you say, it's a good fight. Obviously, two world champions fighting each other. The backdrop, the story, the narrative that people try to create, this Ivan Drago type of character of Lawrence Price, when it's just nonsense whatsoever, do you understand? And really overlooking Natasha, and that's where I've saw me back, got me back up this week really, do you know what I mean? And especially not turning up for the head-to-head to start fight week last week. I thought it was usual respect regardless of what they say. They've been around the game long enough and they should have known better, and she was in Sheffield taking weight off, so that's it. I
was going to ask you about that, obviously the comments that you made at the press conference. As I say, a lot gets made of Price's skills, etc. So do you feel like when those comments do get made, it is of a disrespect to Natasha Jonas?
Yeah, but the trouble in boxing now, there isn't many people in boxing that know what they're on about. I'm not saying I know it all, but they don't. And like yesterday when we did Sky, someone said about, Lawrence is a female Usyk. And when you hear stuff like that, I can't be part of that conversation. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, to understand. She's not done anything yet. She's had 8 fights. Yeah, she won amateurs, but as an amateur she got beat. She lost against a couple of southpaws, struggled against them. She got standing counts as an amateur. She got dropped as an amateur. She's been dropped in sparring as a pro, and everyone's trying to create this super narrative like it's Drago, when it's like she beat McCaskill with a headbutt that stopped with her eye swollen up after 9 rounds, and now they're saying up there like they didn't go after Sandy Ryan because Sandy Ryan and Michaela Meyer wouldn't do it. Well, I'm looking forward to X later when Michaela starts blowing up about it. Do you understand? Yeah. So it's just so much nonsense spoke about now. But when you sit down and watch Natasha and watch who she's been in with, what she's done, and her catalogue of punches and her shot selection, she brings more to the job than what Lauren does if you sit down and study it. And like I've said with Rob there, Rob's a world-class coach, obviously with Joshua and Carl Froch, but he's been in my position when Carl, and he had this upstart George Groves coming, and at the end, an old head won in the end, and I just had to remind him of, Rob, listen, Lauren's good, but you also know on the other side of it, a wise old head is can do it, and I think Natasha has that. Yeah.
You mentioned there about being dropped in sparring. Was that in this camp? Like, what if you could elaborate
in this camp, body shot, So that was a few weeks ago. That.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting.
Sparring, nothing out in the indulgence. She might have, she might not have. Doesn't really bother me, to understand. I'm just like, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean?
So for yourself there, like, because if anyone was to make an argument, you could say, look, Price had such a lengthy amateur career. Would you not say that she gets experience on that? So, but would you say?
She can do. She's in the Olympics, but sometimes you can stay in it a little bit too long. But I just feel, listen, she turned the Olympics and she turned over, and that's it. But Natasha and Katie have put where women's boxing is today, and Lauren has got the experience, but it's a different pro game. It's different, the pro game. Don't matter how many times do we watch Olympic amateurs and you go, oh, they've still got that amateur style, they've still got this, they're not fully set there. And you look at Tasha from a pro debut, like I said to her, she's like, we wanted 3-minute rounds for this fight because that suited Natasha. Do you know what I mean? The longer rounds, the patient timing all the time. And like Lauren keeps saying, convincing herself I'm faster, not lost around and all that. And I said, well, afterwards we'll be just saying we were too old and too good. Yeah. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I asked the question to Lauren. I guess I'll ask you, Joe. Lauren had a GB background, Natasha had a GB background. Is something fitting that you've got 2 GB sort of girls headlining the card through so much GB talent that's come through on the rest of this card as well? Yeah. Is there something fitting about that, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. Like you say, you look at Cindy now. Cindy's a phenomenal talent. We've always used her for sparring. She's really good. Listen to the confidence of Caroline Dubois, who I'm a massive fan of as well. And the other girls on Chloe Watson, how Natasha inspired her, and that it's just great, and it was fitting I had to mention about Kevin Hickey passing away because he was instrumental in setting them up and giving Rob his job. So I didn't see much about it, and I felt it was only worthy that it was mentioned, because without him, them girls wouldn't be where they were today. Yeah,
for sure. That's some good words, Joe. Wanted to move on. Zelfa Barrett, teaming up with yourself now. Good to have him back.
I'm a big Zelfa fan, always have been, even when he was helping us years ago with the Quigg and the Crawler fights. Had a good conversation with Pat, and I'm really happy Zelfa's in the gym. He's happy, he's smiling. It's a new environment, different setup, different things, and he's 30, nearly 31, I think, or 31. But I do feel no one's seen the best of Zelfa. I think his shot selection, the punches that he's capable of, we need to really bring that into his fights now. And I'm really looking forward to him, and I'm really excited. I do feel we can get a world title out of Zelfa Barrett.
Lawrence Okolie as well takes on Richard Riakporhe about a month away now. I guess first thing I'll ask you, eventually when you see the main event drop off of Dillian Whyte pulling out yesterday, was there any consideration for Lawrence to potentially step in to fight Joe Joyce?
I phoned Lawrence straight away and said to get him and Timber to speak to George, and said he'd step in because a bit of rivalry, they're supposed to have fought in the past and it would have stepped in, but obviously now it's Hrgovic, and I'm like, wow, that's a big step up, that late position. I bet Joyce is thinking, I wasn't really expecting that. I could do with Dillian, but Hrgovic. So obviously there must be a little bit more in the pay packet for taking on Hrgovic, and but it was an option. I would like to have seen Lawrence take that fight, but obviously we've got Riakporhe, and that's what we're concentrating on at the moment.
I know, as you say, Riakporhe is the focus, but there was also another thing I wanted to ask you about. I was in Saudi a couple of weeks ago, and initially when Dubois pulled out, there's a lot of talk that Lawrence is in Dubai, he could have stepped in. Was there ever any consideration for Lawrence to potentially step in?
Lawrence, we accepted the fight. It was done, it was accepted the fight. His Excellency was really keen on Lawrence taking the fight, and it was down to Lawrence and Okolie, and in the end of the day, Anderley, technically wise, style wise, thought Okolie, and like he said, if he'd lost to Lawrence, Joe's reputation would go low. I thought it was a bit disrespectful, but I understand it, where if he lost to Martin, it wouldn't be that bad of a hit, and also he knew Martin was in Congo, they had to fly him everywhere, where Lawrence was just an hour away in Dubai to jump on. Half the team were already there with Mohamed Al-Akal. So I can see that, but we took the fight and we were ready to go. Even Lawrence brought his fight kit on fight night in case something went wrong with the visas, so that's how he was ready to go, Lawrence.
Focusing on the Riakporhe fight though, an interesting one to say. There is needle between the two, but it creates for an exciting fight on March 4th, on April 4th, as I'm sure you'll say.
Of course it is. Listen, the two big hitters, both hit with a big right hand. I've been up against Richard before with Sam Hyde. I'm quite familiar with him. And Lawrence is in frightening form at the moment. He's in brilliant form, come back well. 2 first-round knockouts. He's in the conversations. He's ranked high with the WBC, and the belief in him is unreal. Not just physically and boxing-wise, but mentally-wise. It was a fantastic job that we did with Lawrence last year, and hopefully we'll continue that now in 2025.
With Lawrence, when he made his heavyweight debut, there was a lot of comments about the weight and how much he weighed, and I think he was about 250, 260. For yourself as a trainer, he's now, Lawrence saying, look, ideal camp, he wants to sort of get down to that 240 level. What would you think would be an optimal weight?
The reason that Lawrence came in at that weight, because we were fighting a kid at that weight, and I picked that kid because he was a big 18-stone kid that can fight and could give us rounds. I couldn't help it then that Lawrence was got to blow him out, do you know what I mean? But it was size-wise, because I wanted to see how Lawrence felt carrying that weight up against the big guys, because Fury and all them, they're all big guys, and push and pull and all that stuff, but we didn't really get to do that, so that was the reason for it. But it didn't take any away from his boxing technique, it didn't take any away from his conditioning. He was still doing his track work, still doing his sparring. I've got in my head what Lawrence's best performing weight is. Obviously we did bridger weight for the first fight, and then we've moved up to heavyweight, but I've got an idea, but people are too quick to jump on body shapes. Anthony Joshua's body beautiful, do you understand? And do you understand about Larry Holmes and Tyson Fury, isn't it? So we're about boxing skill, and we're on just about Lawrence's mindset and letting him develop the style that we're trying to create with him, a new style.
Completely understand. You said there about new style as well, because obviously there's always the narrative around Lawrence that he might be boring and sort of.
No, it's a bad smell. It isn't.
But then I was just saying that's the narrative that
100%.
But then I'm saying,
and that's what I'm worried about. The Riakporhe fight might happen in the rounds that the two of them stand up holding and hugging, and that bad smell. Where Lawrence had 2 first-round knockouts. He's in the Ring Awards in January. There, he was in the room. It was great. His confidence back. A year before that, he was in the beach Dubai, depressed after losing to Billy William Smith. That's one of the comebacks of the year, Lawrence Okolie. Mentally wise, not just boxing wise, but mentally wise, and he's in a good place. So
So what I was saying is, like, do you think that there's a conscious effort at heavyweight to be more entertaining, or should there be, or should you just do whatever gets you the win?
Well, with the artillery Lawrence carries in his hands, I want him to go out there. I think it named in the UK Wilder at heavyweight, because Shane and other coaches in the past have all said he can whack, and I'm like, yeah, he can. And with that body weight, and he's not weight drained no more, do you know what I mean? He's a different proposition. I'm sure Richard Riakporhe will be as well, because he's not a boiled down kid like where they're half starving to make weight. So this is what makes it a good fight. The weight's not an issue for neither of the boys.
Before I do let you go, I do have to ask you about your thoughts on Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn. A very entertaining build-up. I don't know how you reacted if one of your fighters got hit with an egg, but yeah, it was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. Listen, Chris Eubank Jr. I've always been a fan of him. Do you understand? Just how he conducts, how he creates, and everything else. And it's like Conor Benn. It's like the jury for me is still out on Conor, and that's no disrespect, because I haven't seen him fight for any titles. So in a 50-50 for a southern area, or an English, or a British, or a European, we've not seen that, so we still don't know. Yeah, he's beat some good kids, Chris Algieri and everything else, but then has he had 1 or 2 fights when he was recently in America? But it wasn't the explosive punching that it was, and if that kid turns up for Eubank, then you look at what Eubank did, how he did with Groves, how he did with Yildirim, De Gale. Do you know what I mean? Eubank has got that ring craft, that ring navi, and to think that they can just rush in, I think there's a bit of naivety in their behalf, but I fancy Eubank Jr. But listen, Conor Benn is a big chance, big opportunity, and I'm sure they can say afterwards, oh, it was a step too far, setback paved the way to come back, all that type of stuff. But yeah, get it, but it's a great fight. They reckon ticket sales. I just can't wait for the dad to turn up with the sheriff's badge, mate. I just hope he turns up.
Do you think he will turn?
I just hope he does. I just think he turns up fight week, and I think the show of solidarity of them both being there and takes all the limelight away from Nigel and Conor. Yeah, you know, Chris will turn up and he starts dancing, the sheriff's badge, and then they come to him for a word. Even now we're just like, what's he got to say?
You don't know what he's going to say.
And it's just like, as Chris says to Eddie, it's not the Eddie show, do you understand?
Yeah.
It will definitely be the Eubank show fight week if the dad turns up, and I hope he does. I really do hope he does.
Yeah, echo them thoughts completely. Joe, a pleasure to speak to you. Really appreciate it. Good to see you on the Ring Magazine for the first time.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So it's good to see you, man.
Will be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, Joe. Thank you.